Hey artists, I wanted to talk to you guys about reference photos for your sculptures. You can tell I have a sculpture that I'm working on and you can see the progression on the channel. But one of the things I keep getting asked is, where do I get my references? And references are extremely important to the sculptor because you have to get, if you're working from photos of course, you have to get photos from the front, the profile, the back, the top, and there's very limited places where you can actually get those. It's very difficult to find. I found two websites that are extremely good with references, and they're all human reference. When it comes to like animals and stuff, you do have to search for images before you start your sculpture. And I'm primarily a person that uses reference to build things, so for me it's very important. There are artists that can just work with their imagination and they're able to produce like really beautiful results. I'm not one of those. So there are two websites that really come to mind when it comes to human reference. One is Postspace.com, and I've talked to you guys about references before from there, and in the previous videos that I've done, that's all I've used, Postspace.com. And it's extremely good, and they have very reasonable prices. And you can even use them for portraits and everything because they provide you with very high resolution photos. And that's extremely important, as I'm going to show you in a bit. Postspace.com, and I believe like one pose might be like either $4 to $6. Sometimes they have specials. They're very active. When that whole COVID thing happened, they even gave some of the poses out for free. If you go to postspace.com, they do have 2 free poses that you can download as well. 2 or 3, I believe. One is a clothed one is a male one, and one is a female figure, both standing. But that's a really great website. The other one that I found that is really great as well, they're based in Europe, is Human Anatomy for Artists. Now it's a very large website. I don't think they provide as much reference per pose as Postspace, which is something that detracts a little bit from them. I think they're going after the 2D audience a little bit more, the 2D artist audience, so they don't provide as many. And the way this one works is that it's a subscription-based type of reference site, and I don't particularly like that as much because I don't want to have to pay a monthly subscription to download like a pose that I want to do. And half the time I find it's kind of like just a waste. But I did download a couple of poses from humanatomyforartists.com. They also have another website, is like femaleanatomyforartists.com. It's the same company. Very good. The models are extremely good. They're beautiful. And so far I've only gotten one set. And it's a little bit more expensive and it goes by euros and you have to put in a credit card. You can't pay via PayPal. What I like about Postspace is that you can actually pay via PayPal. And for me, that was kind of important. But either way, like where you get your references doesn't really matter as long as you have good references. And now with so much out there, it's very easy to find. There's also other places like deviantart.com, and there's people that give out free poses. And if you type in 360 reference on DeviantArt, you'll find a few artists that's pretty much all they do. And there are models that will give out free reference as well. So there is kind of like a segment of the art model sort of culture that is providing references for artists, especially like with COVID. People are not going to open sessions to draw and sculpt. So those 2 big websites are the ones I really like. The reference I'm using for right now is the femaleanatomyforartists.com. If you're working with a fantasy sort of thing, of course, that involves a little bit more of combination of elements. Usually if I'm sculpting like an animal, I'll go to Google Images and download as many references as I can. I try to take my own photos of animals if I'm doing sculpture, but of course, if I'm trying to sculpt an elephant, I'm not really going to be able to, might get reference photos of elephants. There are elephants in the zoo, but those are very difficult to even catch in the right circumstances. So if you go on Google and you search for all of these images beforehand, you can really create a very good sculpture. So that is pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about reference, and you need to have quite a bit before you start your own sculpture. So that's it. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.